Hi, and welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I hope everything's going well with you. As always, let's start with scripture. As always, I'm using Psalm 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Those words mean so much. And as I've said before, I always worry that the things I say here might impact someone in either the wrong way or taken wrong or confusing or. So I do hope that the words of my mouth are acceptable in His sight and that it's nothing I ever say to anyone that is hurtful or offensive. And goodness, I hope I have the wisdom that if I do say something cross, that I do go back and I do correct it. Um, these things should never just be left as a hurt in someone's heart or someone else's life. I sure don't want to ever be the part that hurts somebody. And if I am, I always, if I know about it, I do my best to make it right. And I guess that there are times that I just don't know that I did it. And for those times, that's dreadful. But if I know about it, I go back and I make it right. Boy, I hope it's no one out there that I've hurt and I don't know it and I never made it right. But yeah, um, I'm messing with my drainage tube. What I'm going to do momentarily, and I'll give everyone heads up before I do it, is share the information about them. I had to go in, drove an hour and 45 minutes to take a class on how to deal with my drainage tubes. And if I can spare someone else an hour and 45-minute drive to learn how to do this, then I've accomplished a lot, I think. As for how I'm doing, it's been a week and 3 days since my surgery. As you can see, I'm wearing a normal girly shirt, not men's jammies. It still needs to button up the front. I'm still not supposed to lift my arms over my head. See what else. Sore. I'm a little bit sore. It feels more like kind of like steamy bruises, something like that. It's not bad. It just sort of feels bruised. It's a little bit sore. I'm still careful with that side. You're supposed to be careful and alert and everything like that for about 6 weeks. So I've got more time to be careful and alert about it. Under my arm probably hurts more than the other area impacted by the mastectomy. I had 6 lymph nodes removed, and I don't know if it's the more you get done removed, the more painful, or if it's equally, I don't know. It feels more painful than the other area that was impacted by the surgery. It's neither one of them are horrible. I wouldn't want to get like a full hit or something. My dog seems to think that I really need help all the time, and the answer would be her big head right in the middle of the area. And I don't find it to be that helpful, and I don't find it to feel that good. So I wouldn't want anything more than that by any means. Okay, now for the squeamish part. If you're squeamish, if you're triggered, if you're grossed out, if look away, run away, mute, whatever it takes. As I said, I had to drive to take a class on how to care for these. They're inserted at the surgical site. So I have two, because I have two surgical sites. I know someone else that had a bilateral mastectomy. She's got 4. I don't know why, but okay. No, I don't know. Like I said, everyone's case isn't the same. Everyone's treatment isn't the same. But hopefully this is enough that it would be helpful to someone somehow. I only have the 2. It's a white portion of tubing that goes into you. It's got holes along it, and it allows the fluid that's caused by the surgery to pass into the tubing, and then the tubing carries it to the outside of your body and deposits it, easy for me to say, right, into something that looks kind of like a light bulb, with the bulb part on the bottom and the more narrow part at the top. It's got a flip top. And since I've got 2 of the drainage tubes, I have 2, they're actually little cups used for urine analysis. And both the tubing and the cup is labeled 1 and 2. The fluid is to be poured into the corresponding cup, measured, recorded, done twice a day. I do it at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. You can pick your time from what I understand. They didn't tell me what time to do it. It was just what was convenient to me. And fortunately, my daughter actually still does this for me. At first, it was something like, I don't know if it was because of the anesthesia or it, but my arms I didn't trust them. I didn't really want them tugging on anything that was surgically implanted in me at the time. And they are basically surgically implanted in you. I see 1 stitch at the site where they enter my body. I don't know if there's more stitches. There's also an antibacterial disc on the outside that circles around the surgical site where the tube goes in, and that helps with infection. The things that they tell you to look for as far as infection is redness, swelling. The fluid becomes discolorated in a strange way, smells bad. Apparently you notice that without really trying to. Oh, thank goodness I haven't faced that. As it is, my daughter does it for me still, even though at first it was just that I didn't trust my arms. Now I am one of the people that apparently is squeamish or something, because we stand just inside the bathroom. It's a sink right at the bathroom door. And she just sort of gets everything ready, stages up right there. And I cling to the door facing something like a koala clings to a tree, and make little statements like, oh gosh, this is just so gross. How could anyone do this? And she's busy saying, it doesn't bother me. I think it's okay. I don't understand. But here we go. If you're super squeamish, run right now. If the first part wasn't too horrible for you, that you stayed. But if you think the second part's going to freak you out, run. Get ready, run. If you're still here, then I think you're okay. This is what the little item looks like. I'm holding number 2. You can see a little bit of drainage, and it's healthy looking drainage. It's a little bit of drainage still in the tubing. You have to strip it each time you empty it by holding onto one end tight and then pulling downward toward the bulb with your fingers closed tight around it, and it goes into the bulb. the bulb has a little flip top on it and a little one of my daughter's hairs. I know it's not mine, if you know what I mean. It has a flip top on it, so it's easily popped open, and then you just pour it into your little catch cup. And then you measure what you got going on, you record it. Each time you see your surgeons afterwards, you have to take this sheet of paper with you. They'll look at it, they'll decide when it's time to remove your tubing based on the findings of these measurements. I am so totally in hopes. I see my surgeons tomorrow, and I am so in hopes that I get to say farewell to this tubing. I know that it's helped me. I know that it's serving a great purpose. But I am one of the people that find it to be just, I know I responded well just now. On the inside, I was saying, oh, gross, yuck, how horrible. On the outside, I was making it look like, oh, it's not that bad. It is. What else is fun to report about this that you can anticipate? Still, I meant to bring it in with me. I have a pillow. I'll show it to you next time. My sister sent it to me. I sleep. You're not supposed to sleep flat, like if you're someone that usually just lays flat on your back. Once you've had this, you're not going to be sleeping on your side. I can assure you of that. But you're also not supposed to sleep completely flat. And this pillow is sort of kind of a rectangle in the front with two letter C's attached. And the letter C's, if you held it up in front of you, are pointing downward instead of to their side. And you lay it across your chest, and the C part rests under your arms, and your arms rest on it. And it feels way better than just letting your arms stay just flush against your side. You have also the option to add ice or something warm if you want. I haven't really needed to add ice to mine, but the gentle compression that it adds feels yummy. The foundation that you should be wearing now also offers gentle compression, which also feels good. You don't, even walking, the thumping, trotting along can sort of cause discomfort. I can't really call it pain, but the gentle compression of your foundation does help with that. Like on my car ride home, it's basically an open highway, but it is a long ride, and then it goes from that onto the curvy, bumpy country roads that in this area, it's no avoiding them. And my daughter was driving, and she was doing the very best she could do. But you do still feel every bump in the road. In fact, you feel bumps that aren't in the road. So I wasn't complaining, but when I got home, I did need some Aleve. I haven't taken the stronger stuff since I got home, but once I ended up taking it later that night because the ride did cause some pretty decent throbbing. It wasn't fun. But things like that, any kind of sudden jiggeting and things like that do make it all start hurting again. So I've seen that some people come home wrapped in like ace bandage type material. I did not. I came home with just a foundation that offered slight compression. I had bought just beforehand a different type of foundation that offers more compression. And it comes with an option to add still more compression, and that is what I chose to do. The compression helps even if you're really not moving, just the gentle pushing against the area helps it feel a little bit better. I can see a huge difference already in the level of discomfort. When I came home, I mean, if you want to do like the hospitals and you rate your pain 1 to 10, 10 being it's just horrible pain. I never did. Once, right after surgery, I was rocking a 10 easily, maybe even a 20. I don't know. It was bad. Once they got that under control, it wasn't ever that bad again. Probably my highest was once I got home. That night, I might have been around an 8 or something. But since then, I can't even say that I've been above a 5. It hasn't been bad. I've done exactly what I was supposed to do, which is just not use my left side at all. You're not supposed to do any lifting. Probably the most I've lifted weight-wise is dog food you'll never believe who for. Yeah, maybe her. That's about the heaviest I've lifted. And I haven't, you're not supposed to vacuum, you're not supposed to drive, you're not supposed to all kinds of stuff. So I do walk still. I'm not going to become a lump that's just weak. I can't allow that to happen. So I do still continue moving around. I take the dogs out and walk around with them. Initially, they would sort of want to pounce at me and stuff, but after a few times of being like, "Oh no," they've stopped because they probably don't want to hear someone screaming "blah" no to them. But I've stayed. I haven't like taken to the bed or anything like that. It's never been that painful that I felt like I needed to. Once the anesthesia was fully out of my system, I was freely moving about, but for being careful with my left side. The right side will be done later. The left side was absolutely urgent. The right side, they want to be gone also, but it was less urgent. And they felt like it was prudent to wait on that because the more you do it one time, the more risk of infection you got going on. And they want me back on chemotherapy as of the last I heard, the 23rd. But my test results, the pathology didn't come back on, not the 23rd, I'm sorry, the 30th. So in 7 days, I'll be back on chemo if they keep the original plan. But the pathology didn't go according to plan. I think that radiology thought that it was more than likely a case that the tumor had died from the chemotherapy I had already had, because to him it looked slightly deflated. It still had the same measurements, but he said it looked deflated. I don't know. It was the same length, the same width, the same everything, but he said it looked deflated. Yeah, it apparently wasn't. In fact, it had slightly grown in the time that lapsed between chemotherapy stopping and the surgery taking place. So, and as I said before, out of the 6 lymph nodes, 4 of them had cancer. From what I understand, 2 burst. So I'll definitely have radiation after. And I think I'm still supposed to have chemo again starting on the 30th. They haven't told me what the game plan is yet. So I don't know. I hope that the surgeon will tell me tomorrow and I find out what's going on. That would be good, because kind of the sort of not knowing it and wondering causes, I don't know, anxiety maybe. I don't know the word for it. I'm not stressed. I'm still, God's got this. I'm not worried. But you do want to know what more pain you have to look forward to, or whatever. I think is what it is. Like, I'm good with none. The chemotherapy, that if the plan sticks to what it was, there's less complaints with the one that I've got coming up if the plan stays the same. And the only major complaint that people have had with it is that it causes neuropathy. And I'm really cool without that too. Something else that's kind of in the makings. I had stopped using it beforehand, but a friend of mine has given me CBD oil and told me what to use and that sort of thing. Now that I've had the surgery, I'm going to touch base with them again and find out when is best to use each one. But another thing that is in the makings, I have a friend that has an associate that does holistic medicine. And I think I'm probably going to hook up with him and see what other options there are. Maybe something running simultaneously. My bottom line is I want to help however I can to make sure that this cancer is gone forever from everywhere. They haven't told me this, so I'm not saying that this is a fact by any means, but in my mind, my thought is if the lymph nodes had not withstood the stress of the cancer it was dealing with and gave in, then in my mind that means that maybe those cancerous cells that it was accumulating to protect my body got released into my body. And if that is the case, then I don't want it showing up somewhere else at another date and time. So I will help my body, however that might be, to make sure that it's healed in all parts in between. So if that does mean additional chemo, as much as I had always said, if I ever get cancer, I'm going to, go an holistic route. And I would never do chemo. I'd, I don't know, wrap myself in oils or something. But it was a very aggressive cancer. And I found out about it literally like at the 12th hour kind of a thing. So I didn't really have time to do a lot of research or anything else. What I had time to do was hurry up, have my port positioned, and start chemo. So it was rushed enough that by the time I got the port positioned, the chemo began the very next day. And chemo was supposed to have already resumed on the 11th. So because it took a long time to get a surgery date, that got bumped back too. So it's time to, just start thinking about other things. If there is some holistic route, I'm in. I do know that there is an oil, and it's castor oil. I think it's castor oil that has been proven on the site that it will diminish cancer. And I have no idea why, but I actually have not tried that, but I am going to, because at this point, what do you have to lose? So I'm going to also try that, because there is a lump in the remaining area that requires a mammography to look at. I could hear a knocking sound. I'm not sure what I was hearing. Hopefully that isn't something else that's going wrong with me. Ooh, I hear knocking sounds now. It's probably better than bells or voices. Definitely better than voices. But I don't know what that sound was. And that totally made me forget what I was saying. But at any rate, at this point, I've already changed my diet. I would eat very little meats. Mostly I look for vegetables, which I was kind of that way already anyway. My biggest thing was cheese. Oh my goodness, I love me some cheese. And for the most part, I don't eat cheese at all anymore. Every now and then I'll have a weak moment and I will eat some in moderation. I confess I do. But nothing like I used to. I wonder, it's so many hormones and such in cheese. Maybe it's also something about those, whatever the cow has been treated with beforehand. I wonder if it causes some sort of an addiction in the human or whatever that then drinks the milk or eats the cheese or whatever. I don't know. That might need some research though, which I'm quite willing to do. But I'll probably close now, and thank you for joining me. And if you got grossed out, boy, I truly am sorry. I'm not kidding. I really am. It's, like I said, it grosses me out. And yeah, but if I grossed you out too, I'm very sorry. But if it helped you, skip an hour and 45-minute drive to go learn how to handle these things. It was worth being grossed out for a little while. Thank you for joining me. And until we meet again, peace, peace.